Morning, students. Let us commence the session. So it's a revision session only. We are going to revise unit wise. So in unit 1, various XML technologies we have come across. We are going to see a glimpse view on this. That will be useful for your examination as well as to recap. Might be people are busy in your placements during the time. So it's a chance for you to recap again and to take it forward for your university examination. So what made XML to be famous? The thing is, complete service orientation was designed, implemented, communicated. Everything has been done through the XML technologies only. Either if I'm going to store the customer data, or I'm going to give away a software as a service, or if two services want to communicate, right? Anything, the layers of service consumers, infrastructure, service interfaces, service implementation, everything has been underlying a channel, nothing but our XML only, right? So that much flavor it has. That is the reason why XML had played a vital role in complete SOA infrastructure. So ultimately, the reason that why people chooses SOA. So decision making would be easy for the people, especially for the top level management. Uh, it's easy to search and find out a process which is already tailored for the practice, as well as operational efficiency could be improved because I don't want to work with the bugs and fixes for the platforms. Moreover, I could able to get the statistics that which technology is being best practiced. So through that I could able to travel much more farther, and there won't be any practice over on the, or I don't need to take any training over on that environment, right? So if I have a code which is completely tailored and ready to receive arguments as inputs, and it is ready to deliver output means I no need to worry about the code, right? So it's enough for me to plug and play and run the service. So that's the idea behind SOA. So further, it could be a case study that how a complete college administration system, including student management, has been given over there. So how I am accessing my student services and how I am paying my fees. How about the management of classrooms? So everything has been designed. I think for this time, I think everything has been visualized by you, right? So everything, including virtual classroom, right? So how you are accessing the facilities and services from the environment. So this could be a simple case study to demonstrate that infrastructure as a service. So uh, to classify the different types of environment that could be made as a service. Traditional environment, IaaS, PaaS and SaaS, how it can be. So this could be a classic example that could demonstrate you about the pizza making and delivery. If I'm going to have it, everything I'm going to do it in my home, that's going to be the traditional, it could be a client side, it could be a normal one. So if it is going to infrastructure as a service means that what I'm going to do, I'm going to purchase the raw materials outside and I'm going to bake it in my home. And if it is going to be a platform as a service means what I'm going to do, I'm making I have ordered my pizza outside. Ultimately, I'm going to eat it in my home, right? Takeaway method completely. So dined out means I'm going to eat in the hotel. That's all. So that's going to be the thing. So that will demonstrate what would be the software as a service. I don't want to do anything. Just we have a machine that I'm ready to plug and play anywhere else. That's all. So platform as a service means I'll create my platform in that any services could be able to operate. That's the idea here. So I ask infrastructure as a service means I'm ready to do it on a sandwich mode, right? Whenever I need to switch over to my virtual infrastructure, I can switch over. Otherwise, I can use my own infrastructure. That's the idea. So here I'm completely dependent upon my own infrastructure, completely everything, including software, hardware, and platform. That's what it's ready to do that. So what would be the role of XML here? XML is going to serve on all those things. So this is the place where XML, I think, could able to convey, it could able to convey that not only in messaging, XML is going to be used. SOAP is completely built using XML. WSDL is the language derived from XML only. Apart from your QoS, the WSBPEL or WSBPMN, it was built using XML only. So all the available platforms which are being exhibited for you to take it forward could be done completely through XML only. That is the reason why Unit-1 is completely focused upon the XML. Right? So extensible markup language, especially its purpose is store and transport data. It's very easy to take it forward. And a recent case study that if you come across income tax filing, check with your brothers, sisters, or even your father or mother, that those who are salaried class that or business class, whatever may be, filing of their income tax. If you check with that, your complete utility has been done through either Java or an Excel. So through that, they have designed their front end. But whenever you want to upload your data, that could be done through XML only. The data, whatever you are giving through the utility, that will be converted into XML. Only that XML file will be validated because across the country, n crore people are there. So in that case, I need to validate those things now and then, right? So that could, for that, the process of validation will happen parallelly also at some time, right? So because my PAN number is being linked with many places in support of father. So in those cases, how I am going to do the type of vertical or horizontal fragmentation, that could be a tough job. So that can be managed very easily through XML. So please have a chance to visit the income tax filing website. And a simple example is ITR3 iterative will be there. Please download and check with them that you could able to see an XML file will be generated once you complete all the forms. It will ask you to upload again and it will validate and it will generate you the acknowledgement that you have successfully filed your tax forms. So that could be the very good example regarding the XML demo. So how easy it's easy to carry data, right? So that's the main thing. As well as there will be a role of abstraction also that could be done through their respective tags. Ultimate aim is it's ready to plug. It is ready to work with any platform. That's what platform independency will be there. As well as language dependency. That means it could be able to combine with anything. If you want to combine XML with the Python, right, it's ready to work with Java with the Python. Yes, it's ready to work with that. Because the only thing is I could able to construct a parser. Parser will be supplied easily by the scripting languages. That could be the case where we have to discuss more on this type of environment. So a basic structure of the program, it will be like this. So root, child and subchilds will be there. So I could able to access these all nodes and I could able to access the data of the corresponding nodes also. That's also being possible that we will be using that. It's a very simple example that demonstrate about simple user defined code that is ready to work with. Okay, so the version will be given for the corresponding parser through question mark question mark prefixed the tag. So please remember that. So that could be supplied with the question mark. So rest of the things are completely user defined tags. So here the parent tag would be the root tag would be note. So other child tags are going to be 2 from heading and body. So whatever the tag I have opened, I have closed. That could be a well-formed XML. That what we want to comments over that. So these are all the technologies that we'll come across on this board, right? So XML. So from that XML DOM that we are going to look over on that, that how we are going to manage the data available within this. How can we create the process of CSS style sheets? How can I format? Right? So that can be done through my XSL and XSLT. So XPath and XQuery will combine and do that. That I'm ready to access the data. How I am going to access either through relative path or through absolute path. And XQuery that I could able to write a query similar to my PL bar SQL that will be easier, as well as it's having its own pointer also. So using that I could able to write queries. So document type definition, which is ready to work as a data structure for the XML. Nothing but I could able to give the type of data, what I'm going to use, how I'm going to use. So both things I could able to convey through that DDD, XSD schema distribution. So that's also the place where I could able to coin and form for my namespace. So xlink and xpointer that they are ready to represent the corresponding path for my accessing the root element or for the child element, whatever may be. So simple object access protocol which is ready to work when I'm going to access any service or publish any service, or if I'm going to access the input output of one service as input to my service. So in those cases, my SOAP will be ready to represent WSDL. WSDL is nothing but it is ready to represent my SOAP messages, SOAP request and SOAP response messages, right? So how to do that? RDF, rich document format, resource discovery framework. So both are ready to relate with my XML. That could be the next level that they are ready to improve the meta meaning of metadata or the meaning about data, right? So they want to go to the second level, like support vector graphics that could be incorporated with the normal HTML itself, but this SVG also being emerged from XML only. Rich site summary that it's also being yeah, and an easier one that we could able to demonstratively see in web programming. RDF and OWL, right? OWL, ontology web framework based languages. So they are the subsequent level of our XML technologies, but still we don't have any further research on that made them to people to work with the semantic web, right? So due to the exploration of AI, ML, and DL, I think people have not traveled further on that OWL and RDF, right? I think soon we may have to work with the semantic web so that it will explore further idea on the XML related one. So attributes I could able to define as a normal attribute. I think in HTML that you have come across a simple tag that for that you could able to come with it. So body that could be the basic tag that I could able to give an attribute as BG color. So that will ready to bring me back here. The color what I have specified could be in the background for my browser window, right? So likewise here also for user defined tags I could able to proceed with my attributes also. So attributes, right? So in this program the attribute is going to be category, right? So I have given value for the category that will serve as the attribute for book. Right? So, why the reason to learn about the attributes? Why I have to avoid my attributes because while you are going to parse your data, it would be more complex. So, for the purpose only that they made instead of using that one as a corresponding attribute, try to make it as a subchild, right? Try to make it as a subchild, right? So instead of moving with the book category, so make it as a subchild. So category could be the subchild of the corresponding book. That could be an easier one. That's what people are ready to work with. So comment statement, nothing but exclamation mark. After that, you have the double hyphen. I could able to give my data. Next, I could able to end with a double hyphen greater than symbol. That could be the XML comment statement. So what could be a well-formed XML? That could be a major point that it's ready to rock with. Always there should be an XML declaration will be there. Nothing but it should ready to commence with a question mark, right? What type of XML and what type of format that I'm ready to follow. So there will be a root element. All the XML tag elements must be closed as well as it need to match. So it should be case sensitive, right? So properties must be nested. That's the reason why it will ready to generate the tree for the environment, right? So attributes we have to try to avoid, but if you are going to use, that will be quoted, that will be within the double quotes, right? So even I could be able to move with the special characters too, if it is necessary. So that's what the rules for a well-formed XML. That's the case. Because parsers are ready to be enabled for WFO. That's the reason why we are learning about this well-formed XML. DTD, document type definition. So that could be the legal building blocks, nothing but the data structure for the complete XML. We are ready to define the document structure. So what are all necessary for me, right? So legal elements and their attributes. So that's what we have defined. So especially if I want to validate a DTD, that it should be validated against the well-formed rules what we have seen in the previous slides, right? So it need to obey all the 8 rules, right? So that is the one that will give you that the DTD is ready to applicable and I'm ready to use on that. So it's a very simple DTD, employee.dtd. I have created the corresponding usage of DTD. Could be either I could be able to use internal or external. So using the element tag that should be prefixed with the exclamation mark. The employee is the root tag. The subtags are first name, last name, and email. What are all the data types I'm going to use? First name, last name, and email. PC data, parsable character data type. This is the data type that I'm going to use. So everything has to be defined in the employee. How I'm going to use it, right? So this employee.dtd will be used in employee.xml. So how I'm going to use that? So XML version that I have mentioned as it is. Doc type, right? That's going to be the employee and the system. So which one I'm going to refer? Employee.dtd. The root tag is mentioned as employee, and the employee.dtd is the external DTD that I'm going to use here. External DTD means I'm going to link it here. That's all. This is the one. Right, so here I could be able to mention it, and I am ready to use it for my program, right? So that's the thing. So a single DTD can be used in many XML files. That is the reason why we are ready to move for external DTD instead of internal one, right? So what would be the thing? We have some limitations are being running over on DTD. That is the reason why we are moving forward for the XSD, right? So ultimately, DTD is derived from HTML, right? So from there only our HTML, XML, everything came. But XSD is completely written in XML, right? So we have only limited number of data types. We mentioned doesn't support data types, but we have limited number of data types in DTD. But ultimately, it have collections of data types depending upon the elements that what we are going to ready to use. There is no namespace ultimately. So here namespace is available, and DTD, I'm going to give it, I won't give on any order because XML will generate a tree, right? So we have a traversal methodology. So XSD will follow the traversal methodology, especially it is ready to work with a pre-order traversal. So DTD, I think you could not be able to carry forward or modified one, could not be able to apply OOP on that, but XSD can be applied. So that could be the major orientation from that we are moving from DTD to XSD. That is ultimately. See, the main idea of moving from DTD to XSD is data types are completely based upon built-in parsers which are available in the browser. But if I want to use the data types which are available in the front-end languages, in that case, parser will not ready to recognize. To overcome that only, XSD was introduced. That's the idea. So what could be the XSD data types? We have simple and complex, right? If I want to going to work with only one, right, completely based upon only text-based one, in that case, I could be able to use with the simple type. If I'm going to work with a multiple number of elements, combining with a severe number of attributes, in that cases, nothing but if I'm going to work with more number of subchecks, in that case, I have to move for complex type data type. So that's the case. So how that program can be rewritten? Employee.xml, that the employee.dtd has been overwritten through this employee.xsd. Here I have mentioned the element. So complex time is mentioned. So within the sequence, I have mentioned what type of data. So here you could be able to see that first name, last name, email I have given as a string. Nothing but the language based data types I am ready to provide here. But in the previous DTD I have given as PC data, hash PC data, right? So that was being replaced. That's because That won't be operable when I'm going to work with multiple languages as a front end. That is the reason why from DTD we came for my XSP. So ultimately, when I'm going to access this, it is ready to work and display the value. Now that's a fundamental basic one. So XML parsers will help me to identify the if I want to work with the data available in the XML tags. So in that case, because XML can be used at a database completely, right? So in that case, if I want to access the data available in the tags, so how to do that? For that, I need XML parser. So that's the thing. So I could able to using client application, I could able to get it. APIs are available. There are varieties of techniques are available to take the data from the XML code, right? So that's what we are going to work with. So it could be a library which is ready to read the XML data and it is ready to give us output. How they are going to generate the output? Where it ready to differs DOM and SOX, right? Document object model. It could be purely used for our scripting languages. That would be more useful. SAX, right? SAX is nothing but my simple API for XML. So that's also being generalized to one. But when languages felt that XML is completely flexible for them, they started generating their own APIs, right? Instead of using this general API, they started using their own APIs, right? So if you go for Java, they have JAX. So likewise, so every language has its own API for XML for parsing. So that could be the case. So my complete data will be converted into the tree structure, the complete code. So from the tree structure, I will be accessing the data using the DOM parser, document object model, right? So for SAX, I don't need any type of data structures. Directly, I'll work with the tags. Okay, directly I'll work with the tags and retrieve the data very easily because that will be treated as methods and the corresponding arguments. That's the reason why, right? So what does my XML DOM will do? Right? So it's ready to generate. What it will generate for this code? So it's a table code, right? In HTML for your understanding purpose. This is the one that it will generate. Okay. So when I'm going to work with this XML file, this XML DOM, what it will do? It is ready to access the available content. See that in the code that you could be able to see get elements by tag name. I have mentioned the tag 2, right? So it is ready to retrieve my corresponding value using that ID. So I could able to get the data very easily. So for that I have my ActiveX object, Microsoft XML, HTTP. Otherwise I could able to use with my corresponding XML HTTP request method itself. So I have received this output that I have worked directly with the tags. Okay. So that could be the cases where the different types of programs are being traveled over on that, right? So this is what the further stages that how they are taking over that XML DOM. Even I could able to do node cloning, right? I could able to create one more node also. That's also possible in the program. Already three things are available, but fourth one that we have created. So likewise, that would be the cases that we are working with the DOM. So when I'm going for parser, what it is going to happen? What are all the things I have did over that method that has been written as a method here directly? I have to write my code within that method. That's all. So that's the overridden handler being provided by the corresponding content. So this could be the basic code. So within that, I'm going to write XML code is separate, Java code is separate. In the Java code, what I have to do, what are the things that I want to fetch within that corresponding built-in method I'm going to write. So start element, end element, characters. So within that I'm going to write. So while I'm going to run the file, ultimately it will read the data from the corresponding XML and my parser will work over on that and it will retrieve me the data. So that's the cases that's being different from the parser and parser for my XML. That's DOM and the corresponding APIs, how they are working, SACs. So there it will work directly with the tags, but here it's not like that. All the tags are being mapped with the overriding methods. So within the method, I will write the code. What are all the things for the corresponding tag I need to fetch? That's the difference between XML and XML parsing using DOM and corresponding size. So how to work with only a specific node? That's also being possible through that. So that's also being given over that. I could be able to create a node using stacks parser. So that's also being I could able to see over that. And XSLT nothing but that it could is ready to incorporate formatting for the corresponding XML documents, right? So XSLT it is ready to transform a XML document. Export purely for navigation. Xquery it's ready to reach my root elements very easily. XL formatted output XLFO purely for formatting, but XLFO will carry all those things. That's the main case. How an XSLT will works, right? So when an XML document has been given, XSLT processor will check what about the XSL, extensible style sheet language. So when it's going to be combined, what are all the data that I have to format, right? I have to format the data, not the tags. So that could be done through my XSLT processor. So here we have a complete set of an employee record. So what is the XSL that I am going to do? So the corresponding things that I am ready to take it over, and what are all the formatting that I have to generate. So I am going to iterate for the complete set of records. That's the reason why value of select has been given. So the particular ID is being selected. So what I am going to do here, I am ready to generate a table. Within the table, I am ready to give the employee data. Right? This formatting has been done over on the available XML file. Right? I could able to arrange it. I have the tags for XML short. I could able to arrange it based upon my tag. I could able to do my control structure activities, XSL, if it's available, right? So based upon a query that is generate, choose, right? So I could able to work with the corresponding tags, XSL key, right? So I could able to work with the very specific queries also, like my subqueries. So apply template that I could able to create a corresponding uh, CSS separately, and I could able to apply for it. So that's also being possible. So XSL import will help me. What about the style sheet? Yes. So that's the case of my XSLT XSL. So export, it's ready to traverse the elements and attributes in the XML document. It will tell me, right, so how to do that. So XSLT and the Xquery will combine to give the code of export. So that's what the technology based one that we have come across here, right? So that's the point. So important features of export that what made people to use this export, especially on all these contents. Selection of nodes will be the vital one here, right? Might be we have four properties, but the ultimate thing is selection of nodes that will ready to work with this export me effectively, right? So how I am going to access? So probably they have given a hierarchy. So how I am going to take part with the export nodes? So what are the things that will ready to work with export nodes? Element, attribute, text, namespace, the corresponding instruction, command statement, as well as the document nodes. It is ready to work with. So a normal XML program, right? How I am going to access using my node selection based upon these operators. It could be termed as expression, right? Node name. I could be able to give the node name directly. Otherwise, slash mention the root name, double slash represent the corresponding selection over on the root node. Current node has been mentioned, and parent node has been mentioned double quotes. And that represents the corresponding attributes. So likewise, I could be able to fetch it over using the corresponding thing. So it will give you an expression like my coding expression, right? As well as I could be able to apply predicates also. That means along with the existing tags, I could be able to apply my predicates also. Predicates nothing but applying operators over on the existing selection statements, right? So that could be the thing. So book of one, which is ready to retrieve me the corresponding. If I'm having three books, means first book will be retrieved, or second book will be retrieved. Last book need to be retrieved. Last method. Last minus one. That will ready to reply the last the previous one before last one. So better to retrieve all the books which are above three. So that's also being possible. Retrieve only the titles, or titles having only English as a language. So likewise, I could able to write my predicates as and when it is possible. I could able to create the complete expression using wildcard characters also. Right? It's also being possible. So absolute path is being mentioned. That is also applicable. That means till the place where child is available from root to child. right? I could able to write what are all the in-between tags are available. That's what my absolute path. I'm going to give a clear-cut path. That's what absolute path. Relative path means I will mention the path, only the main path in the for loop. So iteratively, the control will take it towards the corresponding child node. Right? So that's what the role of my relative path. What could be the export access? Nothing but access are nothing but the corresponding built-in methods or built-in attributes which are available for me to work with the export access, right? So how to access the previous node, how to access the successor node, right? So how to take about these set of left subchild nodes. So likewise, I'm having some built-in properties to access the corresponding data. So that's also being available here, right? So first name. So that could be done through my scope resolution operators being available over there. Along with that, I have operators also in my export. That's also being available here to take it forward. Right? So probably we'll work with more on relational and comparison operators. That is helpful for us to move forward querying this one. Right? So that's the thing being demonstrated. So even string functions also to manage with the content. All the string functions available in a normal API is ready to work with, right? So how I am accessing my corresponding node, everything that we have seen in the previous section of accessing the stacks itself. Xcode, that could be the functional language. It's ready to retrieve the information. It's purely related analogous to my SQL. That's the major change, right? So through export, absolute and relative paths are ready to work with, but here we have something from Java to ready to work with that. I need a Saxon parser to run this while I'm going. This is my normal program, normal XML program. I'm having the 4 books, and this is my Xcode, the normal language is dedicated for this one is I is ready to retrieve the corresponding books which are greater than 30, right? So by I'm writing a simple Java program, once I execute my Java program, ultimately it will retrieve those things which are greater than 30 rupees only, right? So that's the way of using that one. So floor is the operator that where I could able to use it in my Xcode, right? So it will select all the nodes, assignment. I could able to check with the where class, and I'm going to order by and then return. So order by based upon the criteria. Simple XQI can be written as the dot that. So let is nothing but mainly used for assignment in XQI. So please remember that. So as usual, what you will write in your SQL that you could be able to write using as it is. But the only thing is the variables are being prepared with a dollar symbol. So don't forget to remind about that. So that's the idea. So HTML plus Xcode I could be able to combine and use. That's also being possible. I could be able to generate my sequences, nothing but a list in corresponding data, right? So that's also being possible. I could be able to manipulate with the list also. These are some of the examples for the list. As well as I have some aggregate functions that's also being available in my SQL, right? Average, minimum, max. So likewise, I am having the aggregate functions which are ready to support in my SQL. That's also being available here. So that's what people are ready to represent here. So the normal date and time. So I could able to check with the string matching, right? Expressions I could able to work with. I'm going to work with the normal contents also. I could be able to write a user defined function that is also being possible. So the complete extension could be done through my Ajax. So that could be the closing remarks of this content. That because by using the Ajax technology, no need to refresh the page, just to refresh the data. Data will get to change. That's the idea behind this. Okay, just it's enough to work with the data. No need to work with the design part. So that's the point behind my Ajax. Okay. So here it's enough that no need to refresh the design. It's enough to refresh the data. Data will get to change. The designs will not get to be changed over there. So for these examples will be more helpful for us to understand that data only will be changed. Design will not be refreshed. So that's the point. These are all the things that we have come across in Unit 1 related to XML technologies. Thank you. Thanks for your time.